Good morning, guys. It's Luke here. So we've got a couple of really interesting topics to talk about today. The first one is actually some hidden macOS function key shortcuts. So I found this over on theverge.com and I thought it was really helpful. If you're not familiar, for most keyboard shortcuts on the Mac, it typically involves using the command key. There's actually some hidden ones that use the function key. I'll talk you through those. Some of those are very, very helpful. You can get 6 months free Apple Music right now if you are a PS5 owner. It's very simple to do. If you've got a PS5 and you have an iPhone, or you want to just get 6 months of free music streaming, I'll show you how to do that. I'll talk you through it. It's very simple. And then we're going to talk about the iPhone 14 getting a free year, an extra free year of emergency SOS services. So 3 really fun topics to talk about today, guys. Let's jump in. I'm going to talk to you about these really interesting Mac shortcuts that I didn't know about. All right, guys, on the weekend, I was watching a movie, which is the movie called The Creator, probably one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in quite some time. And at the very end, I was actually just kind of getting distracted and scrolling on my phone. And I found this article over on theverge.com, and it was talking about a number of like hidden secret function keyboard shortcuts. So I'm big into shortcuts on the Mac. It's kind of one of the reasons I love the operating system and why I use it every day over a Windows computer. Is once you get a hang of the function keys and the keyboard shortcuts, there's just so many things you can do so quickly. So for me personally, some of the ones I use all the time is Command Shift 4 for taking a snapshot of the section of my screen, which is really handy if you want to show someone how to do something in a particular app. In my day-to-day role, I'm often sending just small sections of a screenshot to people on Slack, so I love using that function. And then there's other ones like Command and Spacebar, which will allow you to do a whole search of macOS. I use that all the time too. Really handy if you're looking for a particular file or there's an app that you haven't got open and you want to open it really quickly. But today, The Verge put an article up, and it's from a website. It's called tidbits.com, and it's a whole heap of additional function key shortcuts. So basically you push the function key, which is just below the shift key on your keyboard, and you can do a number of shortcuts that I don't really think a lot of people know about. So I'll run you through them real quick. We've got about 10 here. So function Shift A opens the launchpad. Function C is the control center. Function D starts dictation. Function E opens the emoji picker. I use this heaps. In the past, I was going Control Command Spacebar, which also opens it up as well. But I'm going to swap to using Function E because sometimes, I don't know why, but Control Command Spacebar occasionally just won't open it. I don't know why. What else we got? So Function F will toggle full screen mode, a very handy one. Function H will hide the current windows to reveal the desktop. That's a really good one, especially in MacOS Sanoma. Function M selects the Apple menu along the top, and then Function N for Nelly displays the notification center if you use that. This next one I use all the time. It's the Function Q, and that will start a new quick note in Notes. So I'm a big Notes user. I put heaps of stuff in there. I do all of my podcast stuff, all of my notes, and like the show layout and what I'm going to talk about each day. So that'll be a handy one. Function Delete will forward delete on the keyboard without a forward delete key. Function Up arrow scrolls up one page, and Function Down arrow will scroll down a page. Function Left will scroll to the beginning of a document. So that's really handy, especially if you use like Microsoft Word or maybe Google Docs. And then Function Right will go all the way to the very bottom of the page. So there we go, guys. I'll put these in the show notes, but it is taken from tidbits.com. So hopefully you might get one or two out of that list that you find really helpful as a Mac user. So I didn't know about most of these. The one I probably use the most is the new notes, like the quick note. It's super handy, especially if you're like on a phone call or something like that. You've got to write down like a code, or like I mentioned, I put all of my show notes and things I'm going to talk about on there. But yeah, I'll put these in the show notes if you want to grab those. And let's move on to our second topic for today. All right, guys, this one is really, really exciting. And I think for a lot of people, they're definitely going to take up this freebie. So on macrumors.com, I found this on Twitter. If you go to their website, and I'll leave the link below, right now, you can actually get 6 months of free Apple Music if you own a PS5. There doesn't look like there's any kind of like asterisks to this promotion. Basically, all you have to do is on your PS5, you have to download the Apple Music app, and you obviously need to sign in to the PlayStation Network with your account. You will need an Apple ID. You can get one of those for free. You can just sign up with your email address if you don't have one. If you've never owned an iPhone or a MacBook, you can get an Apple ID completely free of charge. Once you do that and you install the app, you can sign up and get 6 months completely free. If you've got premium headphones, you will notice that the quality of streaming is really, really high. And yeah, essentially, this would normally cost you $10 or $12 a month, and you can get it completely free if you own a PS5. So it looks like the offer is only available until, let's see. Okay, yeah, looks like it's available until the 15th of November 2024. I had a little freak out then. I'm like, oh no, people are going to miss out on this, but it's actually available until next year. So yeah, really impressive. You're going to get access to 100 million songs, all ad-free. It is a fantastic service. It's actually available on every device. It's available on Android. It's available, obviously, on iPhone. And yeah, if you've got, an Android phone and you've got a PS5, you can access Apple Music on both of those. Sign up for free. Go to download the app, and you're going to get 6 months completely free of charge, which I think is a massive win. So that's a really good one for today, guys. And let's move on to our last topic. I think you'll really enjoy this one as well, which is the SOS on iPhone. All right, guys. So when the iPhone 14 was released, it's now almost close to 2 years old. One of the selling points of that particular device was the functionality for you to use Apple's satellites to send and receive SMS and to make SOS calls. Now, obviously, this is probably really for a very small number of users, because let's think about it. Most people that use a mobile device are using it either at home or they're using it at their workplace. Really, when people go off-road or they're in remote locations, what previously most people would typically do is have some sort of satellite phone, like a dedicated sat phone, which is an expensive device, no doubt, and you would have to pay a monthly fee to use that satellite phone in those remote locations. When the iPhone 14 came out, they've obviously announced that you can, take your iPhone in replacement of that big clunky satellite phone. And it gives you the ability to send and receive SOS or emergency text messages on your iPhone. There is also the ability to make calls. There has been definitely some reported cases of people using their iPhone to get out of some pretty hairy situations, and they've done that using that SOS service. I personally think that there'd only be a very, very small amount of people that would ever use this service. And when Apple announced it, they said that they would provide 12 months worth of free service for anyone that picked up a new iPhone 14. And what's happened in recent news in the last couple of days is Apple has come out and said in a press release and on socials that they will provide an extra 12 months free use of that service. Now, I was reading some of the comments and some of people's concerns around this, and what a lot of people are kind of saying is they feel that Apple hasn't yet come up with a strategy to actually monetize this service properly. So yeah, I would personally agree with that. I kind of feel like they've maybe monitored the actual amount of use and how many people are using this service, if it's worthwhile even building it into their iPhone. Like maybe it costs them an extra $30 or $40 to put that type of modem in their iPhone, and are they weighing up whether it's worth including that moving forward? The reason I say that is there are other services, like Motorola has recently brought out a dedicated device that connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and it will allow you to do the same thing. And it's an external device. It's quite small, and I read up on this device because I was interested in it, and I think it's $100 for the device, and I can't remember, but the actual monthly service fees were so low that for most people it would probably make more sense to get something like that than pay a premium to get a phone like the iPhone 14 Pro or Pro Max that has that service built in. So I feel like maybe Apple's just kind of still working through, is this a smart move? Should we include this in our phones moving forward? Does it make sense? How do we monetize this? Like, what's the best strategy to get people to actually use this? Do people even care about it? That's probably something that should be considered too. I read an article that the new Qualcomm modems, they also tested this functionality. They quickly got rid of it because they probably ran into the same situation where they're like, do people actually care enough about this to make it a selling point? Do we want to even bother including this in our chips moving forward? So yeah, it's just a bit of an interesting topic. I might leave this as a poll, guys. Do you think that Apple will just get rid of this eventually, like in the next year or so? Or do you think maybe it's just they haven't worked out a proper strategy to actually monetize it and turn it into something that people really want to pay for? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope you enjoy the free Apple Music. Cheers, guys.